Hey guys, what's going on? This is Devin. You are now aboard the Osborne Music Movie Wagon's first review ever. Originally, I was going to do a promo video to promote the site and the review show, but since I tend to overthink things and overdevelop things, I just thought, fuck it, I'm just going to give you guys the first review and just keep you guys not waiting. This one's going to be a very special review. This is going to be a very first ever concert review. And now this is an update to the page. I will be doing concert reviews in addition to movie reviews, band reviews, album reviews, etc. and so forth. So any concert I go to, I will be happy to review it because, come on, it's concerts. Wouldn't you like to give your opinions on all the bands, shows, whatever comes to your head, I guess. So the concert I'm going to be reviewing for you guys today is the Rockstar Energy Drink Mayhem Festival of 2012. Now, for those of you that don't really know, the Mayhem Festival has been around since 2008. The first year, I went to the first year, and it was phenomenal. Had bands like Slipknot, Disturbed, Dragon Force, Mastodon, Underoath, Machine Head, Five Finger Death Punch, just to name a few. Now, the Mayhem Fest 2012 brought back a lot of gold classic acts, but then bringing some classic acts that have never been on this festival before. The bands that they've decided to bring back to this festival were headliners Slipknot and Slayer. Very, very, very brutal and powerful lineup, I think, personally. And then alongside, they decided to bring in bands such as Motorhead, Anthrax, As I Lay Dying, Asking Alexandria, The Devil Wears Prada, and just to name a few, basically. However, Darien Lake's show happened to be a little different. They didn't have the two side stages that occurs at every other date at the Mayhem Festival. Instead, they decided to take Anthrax from the Jägermeister stage and just bump them up to the main stage opening for Motorhead, and just so Slipknot, Slayer, Motorhead, and Anthrax. Now, I paid $70 for this, and it was, I gotta tell you, very good seating, very good bands, and a very good performance from all four bands, so I'm just gonna get to the bands and how they all performed. First up was Anthrax, and it was a great honor to see Anthrax, one of the greatest metal bands in the world, one of the big four, with Joey Belladonna back on vocals. It was such a terrific honor to see Anthrax. However, I'm going to get to my gripe with Anthrax real quick, just so that way I'm not really going bad. And the gripe wasn't really, it's not really about their performance or anything, it's about how long they play. They only played like 30 minutes, which I was really disappointed about. They played like 7 or 8 songs, and they only played one new song off their critically acclaimed album, Worship Music, the song Fight Until You Can't, which is really one of my favorite tunes, but I would have loved to have heard songs like Earth on Hell, The Devil You Know, In the End, The Giant, Judas Priest, those songs. But, you know, hearing Fight Until You Can't was very satisfying. I enjoyed it very much. But it was also a good balance because they played really great classic hits. They played Caught in a Mosh, I Am the Law, and Indians. And they did 2 covers, which are on a few of their albums. They did Joe Jackson's Joe Jackson's song Got the Time, and also a Trust song, Antisocial. All great songs. It was a really great set. And then there were some technical problems for the show. At the beginning of Caught in a Mosh, you really couldn't hear Joey's voice at first. I think the sound problem guys got the problem fixed after a few verses. So really, the sound was perfect. And seeing Scotty Ian, Frankie Bello, Joey Belladonna, Rob Casciano was great. Now, you guys probably wondered why I didn't say Charlie Benante. Well, Charlie Benante was sidelined for the show due to a court filing case and a broken hand. So, in place of him was Shadows Fall drummer Jason Bittner, and I thought it was a perfect choice. So, Anthrax definitely pulled off a great performance, great song choices, and it was great to see Joey Belladonna with the guys back again. Now we move on to the next band, which is Motorhead. Now, Motorhead is known to be one of the most legendary metal bands in the world, coming out of the new wave of British heavy metal with bands such as Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Def Leppard, Saxon, Venom, Tigers of Pantang, to name a few. Motorhead, their set, I honestly thought was brilliant. Now, honestly, I didn't know a lot of Motorhead tunes. I only knew 3 other tunes aside Ace of Spades, because Ace of Spades is literally the critically acclaimed tune of Motorhead. As well as Lemmy stated at the show, their national anthem, if you will. you know, Motorhead was great. It was great to see the legend, Lemmy Kilmister himself. I mean, honestly, you can't go wrong with seeing Lemmy. I had no problems with their stage show. It was fucking brilliant. And their set, now I know why they were claimed the loudest band on earth by Guinness World Book Records. Because literally their sound was just in my ear the entire time, and I thought my eardrums were going to explode. And Lemmy, if you do watch this movie, I mean this with no criticism whatsoever. You are a legend among most people. To that, I respect that. Mickey D, your drum solo was incredible. Phil Campbell, you are a great guitar player. Motorhead's set was phenomenal. Now we get on to the co-headliner of the night, which is another of the big four, Slayer. Now, I've been getting into Slayer a little bit. Like my likeness for Slayer was a little now, but now it's starting to get up there a little bit. I mean, I knew songs like Raining Blood, Seasons in the Abyss, War Ensemble, and South of Heaven, of course. I started getting into them a little more when their 2009 album World Painted Blood came out, and they had songs like the title track, World Painted Blood, Psychopathy Red, and Hate Worldwide. And there was also another lineup change for the band. Guitarist Jeff Hanneman was not present at the show because he was still fighting the spider bite infection that he got while he was on tour with Slayer last year. So in place of Jeff was Gary Holt from Exodus, and honestly, it was a really great performance. Right before the show, and their opening tune, Disciple, there was literally a dark curtain right before them, and then I read in the set list that they played this opening tune on one of their albums called Disciple of Christ over the loudspeakers, and then you heard the opening notes of Disciple, and what was really, really, really cool about their show is that they had these stack of Marshall amps behind Lombardo's kit, and it was really sick, and then they also had the Slayer emblem right above them, and it just lit fire, and they had some of the amps spitting out fire. I thought that was a brilliant stage show performance by Slayer. Slayer had a really good arrangement of tunes. They only played one tune off World Painted Blood, which was Hate Worldwide, and the rest were classic songs, so I really had no problem. However, this is the only criticism I have of Slayer. Their songs really all sound the same, and I'm not really meaning that with negativity at all. I'm just saying they really sounded the same. At one point, I really kind of got bored of their set, so I think like towards the end, I'm just thinking, just play Raining Blood, get the hell off the stage, and just let Slipknot play out and close the night. So Slayer was perfect, and I really have no criticism against those guys other than their songs being the same, and that's pretty much it. So overall, so far, Anthrax was phenomenal, Motorhead was phenomenal, and so was Slayer. Now we get to the headliners and literally the pioneers of headlining the Mayhem Festival, Slipknot. Now, for Slipknot, this is their first American tour in over 2 years since the death of bassist Paul Gray. Now, real quick, Slipknot honestly wasn't going to tour before they decided to headline the Mayhem Festival, because there were two sides of the whole Slipknot getting back together thing. One side was Joey Jordison saying, "Oh yeah, there will be another Slipknot record, nothing to worry about." So there was that whole thing, and then there was the other side of vocalist Corey Taylor, who's just like, "Dude, I don't know. I'm on the fence about this." So they started out with a small European tour last year, and then Soundwave Festival in Australia. And Corey said if the tour doesn't work out, then this band might be done. And then he stated he wouldn't lie to his fans about that. But then, obviously, as you guys can see, since the success of their European tour and the Australian tour they recently just did, they decided to come back and headline the Rockstar Mayhem Festival for the U.S. fans in honor of Paul. Now, Slipknot, when I saw them at the first Mayhem Fest 4 years ago, and this was before Paul died, I honestly did not think their set was all that good. And to the band, I will not blame the band fully, because one, their sound wasn't really all that good. The guitars were overpowering Corey's voice, so I really couldn't understand a word he was saying, which was really disappointing. And then the other ones, I mean, they were kind of depending on a lot of All Hope Is Gone, which that wasn't even out yet. I mean, they only played one song, Psychosocial, but they didn't really play a lot of the hits I knew. But hey, that's just my opinion. Everybody has one, right? So how was Slipknot? So 4 years later, how does Slipknot do? Actually, they blew my mind. I mean, this was their first U.S. tour in 2 years without Paul. I was worried. I was like, oh man, I hope they don't repeat the first year of Mayhem Festival like they did. Happily, I was wrong. Slipknot came out and just blew my mind. It was a really great performance. It was a great mix of songs. They played, a lot of the hits. They played Before I Forget, Disaster Piece, Wait and Bleed, Spit It Out, Surfacing, to name a few. And then there were some other songs they played as well. They played some ones that not a lot of people would expect to hear. Songs such as Gently off of Iowa, Vermilion off of Volume 3, and then Sulfur off of All Hope Is Gone, which it blew my mind, because Sulfur's maybe my favorite song off of All Hope Is Gone. I'm not too sure. But it was phenomenal. And what they really did, they had some banners. They had some banners to honorate the years of Slipknot. They had the All Hope Is Gone banner they used in the All Hope Is Gone tour. And then at one point, before the song Duality, they switched to a banner, number 2 banner, which is obviously Paul's number. And the really cool thing was they decided to dedicate Duality to Paul. They dedicate the entire tour to Paul. So it was really brilliant. And I actually had the honor of bringing my Paul mask to the show. I was intentionally going to wear it, but however I decided, it's kind of a little too soon to see somebody in a Paul mask. So what I did was took my mask and held the mask up in effigy, just as a symbolic purpose, because I think if I wore the mask, it probably just would have worn out its honor. Holding up the mask in effigy with no face in it was just the perfect idea for me, and a lot of my friends said it was good too. So I'm glad I didn't overwarn the memory of Paul. And Paul, this tour was brilliant, man. I think you would be proud of this, honestly. So Slipknot was probably the highlight of my night. They blew me away. They had a great set. They had a great sound. They had great stage performances. It was great to see those guys again. And I think before the show ended, Corey stated that this is only the beginning. Now, I think that could be open to anything. I mean, 2013, I heard Slipknot will be working on a new record, which I'm really interested to hear what they're going to be doing. First album without Paul, and I got a feeling Slipknot will stay around for a while because us fans were there to support them, and I don't think we could have done it. I don't think Slipknot could have done it if we weren't around to support them. So Slipknot was phenomenal. Anthrax, Motorhead, and Slayer were all phenomenal. It was a great show. Looking forward to Mayhem Fest 2013. So that's pretty much it of Mayhem Fest 2012. It was great. Some minor gripes here and there, but otherwise, probably the best metal show to ever go to this year if you ever get a chance to. Sadly, the tour ends August 5th, so if you guys went, that's great. If you didn't, kind of sucks, but hey, there's Mayhem Fest 2013. Just stay tuned. There's going to be another concert review coming up of the Uproar Fest 2012. I might give my little insight of Uproar 2011, just so that way I can prepare you guys for what's to come for Uproar 2012. So, thanks for tuning in to the first review ever of Osborne Music Movie Wagon. I'm Devin, and thanks for tuning in, and more to come. Take care.